Thank you so much to everybody who's attending. Really great to have you. We're going to be doing what we're calling SoundBites throughout the year. This is the first one that we're doing. Incredibly special to have Phil and Sarah with us. We'll let them do a little intro in a second. I'm just, again, grateful to have all folks here. We're hopefully just going to be pushing the discussion around what's going on digitally in the world of restaurants, and how can essentially we make better guest experiences happen. That's what we care about. And I might as well introduce myself, Brandon Barton, the CEO of Byte. Been with the company for a while. Previous to this, I was one of the first folks at Resi, also a hospitality tech company, and few other great companies before that as well. But in operations, I worked for Danny Meyer and Union Square Hospitality Group, somebody who Phil got a chance to work for as well, which is where our paths first crossed. As all of our panelists are today, and myself, very dedicated to hospitality, and then how does tech fit into that? So excited to get that going. For those of you that want to attend more of this, we'll probably send out a video if we can of this, but next month we're going to be having one of the wonderful leaders from Chick-fil-A join us to talk a little bit about hospitality. And we'll be adding to that panel a couple of special guests as well, but going to be pretty cool for that one. But that being said, let's jump into this. We are talking about restaurants as e-commerce brands, as things have changed in the past 12 months. March 19th last year, we were just getting home from Mertech, I think, and now, and now it's a very different world. So would love to just ask each of you, Sarah and Phil, to introduce yourselves, tell about your role, and then we can get into kind of some of the topics. Sarah, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, hey guys, my name's Sarah. I work for Togo's Eateries. If you guys are on the East Coast, may have not heard of it. We are a West Coast-based sandwich chain with about 170 locations, mainly in California, but some scattered in Oregon and Washington and Arizona as well. We focus on being true to the sandwich, so fresh ingredients, made daily, made to order, customized sandwiches. We're known for our pastrami, and I'm proud to say we've been around for 50 years this year. So we are very established in the NorCal market, but we do have some in Southern California as well. As far as my role, I sit on the marketing team, but as Brandon knows, I'm really MarTech. I am that line between, it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm IT, sometimes I'm marketing. So I help oversee our offsite sales. So everything from online ordering, delivery service providers, catering, a little bit of kiosks. We work with Byte on them, as well as local store marketing and digital solutions for local store marketing. So anything marketing outside the four walls, I touch it.
And for those that didn't hear, you're on site at a photo shoot, so it is just maybe no kids to jump in the frame today, but you're out there working. Awesome. Sarah,
I am.
Phil.
Hey everybody, I'm Phil Crawford. I'm not at a photo shoot. I'm in Pee-wee's Playhouse, as you probably can tell by those that are doing this. I have the privilege of running the technology shop for CKE, and we own and operate about 3,000 restaurants here domestically in the U.S., known as Carl's, Junior, and Hardee's. I have the privilege, obviously, to work with Brandon back at the USHG Hospitality Shake Shack days with Danny Meyer, and I've continued the trend in technology overall. I actually just love it. I have a passion for it. And I think the best part of what we're trying to do here in our branding concept really is to usually revolutionize our two concepts and become more technically relevant here moving forward. So I just look forward to the conversation between you and Sarah. So thanks.
Awesome, great. Well, let's kick things off. No need to on my podcast, I always say all meat, no filler, like it's a hot dog. So let's jump into just kind of the current state of things. I think the biggest question on everyone's mind right now is, now that we understand what the pandemic had done to us and shut down and everything, and obviously growing digital sales like crazy, we know that has happened. What happens in the next 9 months, in the rest of this year, with digital sales? What are we preparing for to reopen things like dining rooms? How is this going to change, going from 80-20, from digital 80 and in-person 20 or something like that going forward? So happy to just open it up and get your thoughts on how do we reopen the world?
Sure. Look, I'll start. I think the trend is going to continue, right? We realized that delivery and those different avenues really opened up a new consumer base that never really were never really would have visited us in the first place. I think as the world reopens, you're still going to have those fair share that don't want to walk into a restaurant. We still have to meet them on their terms, whether it is through a drive-through, curbside, parking spot, delivery, and so forth. I actually think it'll increase our throughput because you will have those other factors that really want to get back out and they want to go back into an establishment and go dine in, regardless of the concept. So I think the technology stacks will continue to evolve. And I think the good part about the catalyst this did for technology specifically, what took 3 years to actually do for so many different concepts, we got slammed to get it done in less than 3 weeks is kind of the analogy we say. And in doing so, we really had to learn and pivot and be agile. So a lot of the foundational work that we're doing, we'll be able to eventually, change our overall business mindset for the consumer as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think moving through the next 9 months, it's not digital's going away. It's how do we mirror digital with this in-store dining experience. Thankfully, I know CKE as well as us, we're very poised for to go. I mean, our name is Togo Sandwiches, to go. So that really helps us enable the continuing the delivery model, continuing the offsite sales model. But I think more so it's, okay, now we have these customers. We know they're going to come in, but can we make it easier for them to come in? Is there digital solutions in store that it mirrors what they've been having the past 9 months? Or can we push them to online to then pick up their food in store versus curbside or delivery? And so I think the guests have rapidly been trained on this new solution, which it's easier for them to order. They can customize better, and it's easier for our stores for throughput. So I think we will continue to push that method in order for higher throughput and more satisfaction for our guests.
Love that. Now, it goes without saying that both of you, both of your brands during the onset of the pandemic about a year ago decided to open up more digital ordering channels, right? We mentioned a couple of them. You always had drive-through at a CKE restaurant, but you never really had drive up and pick up curbside or anything like that, whereas that's new. Same with Togo's, offering guests the ability to scan a QR code and order and do all those things. You added more. Now, do either of you feel that any of those new methods are going to be stopped when, let's say, the world returns, whatever that is? Yeah. And do you think, and so even if it's not, so you're both shaking your head no, in case anyone's
no.
on.
No.
We both agree.
The stenographer here. So great. So no. Now, how much do you think that will decrease though? Because percentage-wise, it's obvious that it's going to decrease from maybe not a volume, but from a percentage perspective. There will be people returning to walking up and ordering the way we did, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Sarah, you go first.
I was going to say, we actually are projecting that it's not going to decrease this year. We are putting some different solutions in place to basically pick up on the sales that we had this year. For example, with Byte, we are launching a custom front end, and we believe the simple tweaks of upsell are going to help it increase. And on the delivery service provider side, we actually made DSPs required for all of our stores. So now that all of our stores have it, that's going to help that lift as well. So from our end, we don't think it's going to increase. We're projecting a slight increase. However, it's not going to be double as we saw the year prior.
Right.
And I would agree with that. I think she's spot on. I think the fact that you're actually going to see an uptick, quite the contrary, right, than a downtick. I think that as you go through and we standardize on the different digital ecosystems that we're rolling out, you standardize on delivery, you standardize on a new loyalty platform, and you standardize just in a lot of different methodologies of people. And there's even next generation technologies coming out as well. I think you're always going to have those consumers that want to adopt the latest and greatest. But they've also got kind of taste of the Kool-Aid, right? They've kind of drinking from it and they really, really love it. And then people are going to be more in tune with that because they now know the convenience factor is so much in their hands where it wasn't before.
Yeah, I often think of myself and grocery or even, kind of staple goods that I would need from, let's say, a Home Depot or something. I find myself buying a simple light bulb online, like, send it to my house because you can, and it's convenient for me. And I don't like leaving the house anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I love leaving, but we don't do that. It's incredible to hear you both say that when perhaps the mindset might be that it's going to go back to a little bit of what. I think you're right. I think a lot of people who so-called tried the Kool-Aid or tried digital ordering for the first time and felt how easy it was to check out might stay there. Very cool. Well, Sarah, you mentioned a little bit of the third-party delivery, 3PD, whatever you want to call them, delivery service providers, if you will. Do you work with, each of you, do you work with a ton of them? How has that been going? How the relationship, they're obviously acquiring sometimes a lot of your digital orders for you. Do you work with many of those, the national brands at least?
Yeah, I mean, I can start. We work with the major five, including Easy Cater for catering. And the partnerships are good. I think last year opened up opportunities for renegotiation of the partnerships because obviously more volume was going through. We saw a massive increase, not only because we started requiring it, but also just when guests went into the pandemic mode, they didn't instantly think, I need to order delivered from Togo's. It was, oh, DoorDash does delivery. Who's available on there? So I think first-time delivery users went to those platforms before they went to their brand's platform. And then it was once they saw that the brand delivered, then they started shifting. But I think those revenues are going to go up, and the partnerships help a lot. I mean, we thankfully are in California, so you guys have made it heard of the delivery cap, so that was very helpful for us. However, the guests are paying for it a little bit with the delivery cap, and so we're really curious to see, especially now we just started opening up in California, so there might be some room for renegotiations there as maybe those caps increase or decrease. But it's been a lot of communications with the DSP partner, right? We call them DSPs. A lot of communication, constant, and making sure the orders or the systems are online. Having those integrations was crucial. I can't imagine going through this without having integrations into our POS systems through Olo, our online ordering provider. It would have been a nightmare to try to manage the different menus and things running out and stores closing early with all the social justice movements. And so it's been a busy year with those guys.
The newly public Olo, we should say, shout out to Noah. Congratulations on what you've built from. I think I read an article where, it was said he was handed, sticks and rocks and created a market out of online ordering. So Phil, I know you're a fan of Olo. You've used them in a lot of different places. Talk to us about your relationship there and how it extends to third-party delivery companies.
Yeah, look, I'm a huge fan of Olo. Noah, Matt, the whole group over there, Marty. Actually, we're leveraging them now at CKE moving forward. A lot for the same things that Sarah's done. It's all about the integration, right? And moving data from point A to point B to point C in the most frictionless environment possible. And especially when it came to delivery. I mean, I wasn't here when when COVID kicked off, in its full height. I was at a different company before that. But the learnings that we had done by going away from tablet to full integration was massive. And having the right partnership in place was crucial for that success. If you hadn't done that, right, and you hadn't actually had pivoted and shifted, it would have been a complete, detriment to the business from an order accuracy all the way down to a consumer experience model. I personally believe that the delivery partners that we actually partner with, the big broad four, as we call them, we won't name names, but you can figure out who they are, sure. Right? In the DSP markets, they were actually a blessing to us. I know many people kind of think of them as a taboo, but I think they actually did a great thing for the hospitality industry in its totality. And now we've created a partnership and strategic alliances with them as we move forward.
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, several of the larger delivery service providers or third-party delivery companies have really gotten the brunt of some bad press. Some of the activity on a micro level that has happened where fake restaurants and putting restaurants on that are not partners and stuff like that. Certainly, no one's going to say was a good idea, for the industry, and everyone would love to see those costs go down. But for the value that they're providing, especially on the logistics side of things, do either of you use, let's say, one of those providers for delivering of your own orders on the first party?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, you do. So, and does that to you, Sarah, do those charges when it comes in to get, your wonderful sandwich from point A from your store to a customer, does that have the same kind of, maybe imbalance of cost as maybe when a customer comes to you? Do you feel the same way about it?
Yeah, so I mean, either way, these guys are going to get their money. So it's either the store is paying the commission and the customer is paying a low delivery fee, or the store is paying low commission and the customer is paying a high. So depending where you go, that's where the cost weighs out. Oh. So it is higher for the guest to order right now on our online ordering site. We're working through different ways. However, it's still a million times cheaper than our store delivering a single sandwich order. We don't have the labor, especially again in California, we don't have the labor to be able to do that. So to utilize a third-party labor for the deliveries is massive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, like I said, I feel like there's a bad kind of rap out there. And as Phil is mentioning, if those, if the scaling hadn't happened for the Uber Eats and the DoorDashes of the world prior to the pandemic, from 2017 to 2019, I think we'd be in a lot worse of a place with not having millions of consumers having on their phone an app that could connect them to you. And hopefully the relationships between those large providers and restaurants is going to just start improving from this point forward. It certainly seemed that way from the Super Bowl commercials that restaurant that they're trying to, I joked with a friend of mine at DoorDash. I said, could you went after a more warm and cuddly brand than Sesame Street to try to tell the world that you guys aren't bad guys? Like, what else, what else would you have went for? You could have just been hugging dolphins and seals or something.
It's funny you bring that up too, because you have those alliances out there, right? And for first party through us, something that we're currently testing in a variety of markets as well, because there's a whole owning the consumer data, number one, through your own channels. Yes. But then also, again, we just saw Shake Shack, one of my previous company, roll out direct through Uber through their own app. Or we have the Chipotle making those partnerships too. Yep. There is a lot of value there in having it look like it's actually from you, but ensuring that the quality of the product that goes to your own channels meets your expectations. I think that's a crucial part of that partnership moving forward.
Yeah, I mean,
it's easier to recover the. Oh, but no, I would say it's easier to recover the guests too when it's going through a third party and they have a poor experience. We don't have that data, so for us, that's a huge thing. Is it's going through us. We know that driver, when they pick it up, where they go, who they are. We can get on the phone with that driver and say, "Hey, this is our guest. You need to make it right, whatever it may be." And so that part of it is huge to own it.
Yeah. I mean, if you just took the most extreme example, if your restaurant brand was 100% first party, by the way, I'm like the hugest restaurant proponent of all. Like the reason I went and worked at Resi was to make sure that we could beat up OpenTable and make sure that full service restaurants weren't getting charged too much money to take reservations. Okay. So like, this is a very similar and parallel kind of game here that's being played. But what's different in my mind is, you have a very finite amount of seats in your fine dining restaurant. This is, casual dining has, kind of infinite seats in some sense, but in your fine dining restaurant, you have a finite amount of seats and you can only fill those up. In your case, you'd make as many sandwiches as possible, right? Like you could find labor to do that. And so anyone who says our goal is to have 100% through our website first party, you're leaving something on the table out there, right? Like that has to be the conclusion. I'm very kind of, the recent press of just beating up on the third-party delivery companies, I think is the wrong message. And I think, Phil, what you're saying, how do we work with these brands? How to maybe create some special partnerships to do that. Now, talking about pricing, are you both do you have similar pricing on the third-party delivery companies as you do on your own website? Do you have changes there, or?
We have changes.
Yeah, we do as well.
Help with the bottom line.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and this gives a way for to differentiate and maybe give an incentive for people to come to the first party website, and of course loyalty. Whether it's a loyalty program that's external or something you've built internally, that only exists within people coming first party, coming to your drive-through, coming to your curbside. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. I've been talking to a couple of the really interesting, essentially MarTech, like marketing tech companies for restaurants recently, and pretty amazing to see the way that you can start targeting some people that are coming through third party, and trying to get them to become first party folks. You guys have any stories or incidences around that, like trying to get folks to become first party and recognize you as the brand over the third-party delivery?
I mean, the traditional bag and tag, right? You putting on the actual bag, slap the sticker on it, putting in there. I think that's the traditional way of doing it. And I think you hit it on a very sweet spot. Is there are companies coming out that follow the same similarities that they used to do with regards to the last 4 digits of card, and then triangulation with your first name, last name, and then geolocation it out from where they picked up the order actually on the POS. That same kind of methodology, and then doing the social tagging and so forth, will become it will actually become a new norm, I believe, in our industry, especially in the marketing tech side. Once somebody pioneers it enough, where it becomes the accuracy metric that's there. I just want to do it in California because of all the liability with PII data, but it could be a different story out there if they can get around.
CCPA is tough, right?
Yeah,
it is. CCPA sucks.
Yeah, I mean, for us right now, it's instead of targeting the guests that we know are going through, I mean, there's a traditional as well, it's how do we capture those guests before they even go. So we run a lot of Google ads that feature things that are only on our website, whether it's a LTO, a discount, a rewards program, and we're seeing great success with that. Granted, we can't compete with the budgets of any of the major guys when we search Google, but the way that we are using Google for our local marketing, we do 3 to 5 mile radius, our demographics, certain times of day, and we're able to get the customer before they go. That's what we're doing right now to create them.
Yeah, this is always the hard part, which is their marketing budget combined is much bigger than any individual brand's marketing budget. So certainly economies of scale that can be reached that make it, again, had this a lot happen with Open Table versus independent restaurant X, like, the marketing budget obviously can make you place first in a Google ranking when searching for that specific brand. We were playing around with this the other day, and that's a tough thing. I mean, I always just think about wherever Google Maps links to is the way that guests are going to go, and not even Google itself, Google Maps, because they're searching in the car. Obviously Google owns Waze as well, so like Waze, probably links that direction as well. Do you have control over that, and do you get to set who goes first there?
Yeah, so we have partnerships, again, with third parties that help manage our Google platform. But recently, last year, we, with Olo, launched Google Reels Premium. And so with that, before, when the guest searched Togo's, it would go to one of the 4 major players. Well, now we can direct it so it goes to us. And so not only lower commission, but then we own that guest. And we've seen huge success because, as you said, if I'm searching somewhere, I'm not typically going to the menu. I'm Googling, where's the closest blank? Oh, there's the menu. I can order. And it looks like for the guests, they're ordering from Google, but it's really an API when they're ordering from us through our Olo integration.
Cool. Well, this whole session is brought to you by Olo. I own a lot of their stock now that it's public. This is just a pump and dump for Olo. $ OLO. Find it on I don't know enough about their whole thing to know if it's a good investment. I know that it's a killer company that's doing a lot. Like we said, shouts to Noah. Well, look. Let's talk and take this a different direction, or kind of go along that thread. When people start their ordering experience on a Google or something like that, and then eventually get to your website and land an order, that's essentially the new guest experience, right? And so we spend, as operators, thousands and thousands of hours. Okay, a guest's going to walk in. Which way should they go? Where should we put this sign? Where should the menu be? What are our people going to say to them? Are we spending enough time thinking about Google to getting food, right? Are we actually spending enough time there? Or do you think that mind share is going to start going to this? How do we change the digital experience to be as thought through and wonderful as somebody walking into a restaurant?
I mean, I can feel you take it. You haven't talked.
This is an interesting one, right? I think it's all about creating that persona, right? You have to understand who they are and how they want to interact with you. I think the more I know about you than you know about yourself, the better off I win as the business. So whether it be pulling in, different sets of data and a variety of different, methodologies, whether it be through Google or your social feeds or in restaurant and so forth, I then can actually build a persona of who you are and how you are with us. And I can actually target you in a certain way to give you that best possible experience. Yeah. That's the name of the game. I mean, we've seen companies do it in other QSR markets where you drive up to drive-through and they know exactly who you are. They customize the experience all the way through, whether it be some beacon technology or some other thing on your app on your phone. Yeah. I think that new claim to fame really is like back to the 50s flashback in Vegas. You used to walk up to the bartender and say, "Hey, Joe," and say, "Hey, Phil, you want the same martini up with, 2 olives?" That just needs to digitalize that entire experience. And the way to do it is just really through metadata and small little pieces of who they are to build a picture of who that persona is.
Sure. Yeah. Sarah, same
Yeah.
thing.
I would say, well, going back to your original question, are we focusing enough on digital? I don't think so. I think brands are starting to get it. And really, as you look in the market, you can see who has spent the same amount of time focusing on their digital platforms as their in-store platforms. I can think of a few on top of my head. But I think with the pandemic, we're seeing now executive teams and CEOs take that shift to invest more. I personally, within Togo's, I'm very happy because this is my world. So, for example, a custom front ordering site, after years of asking for it, we saw the surge with COVID, and now we're getting it. Which shout out to Byte for that. We're very excited for that front end. But I think now brands are starting to invest in it more, and they're seeing the rewards, as Phil was saying, of being able to tailor. Guests want the same experience we want to give them, and guests want the same experience when they go online versus they go in store. It should be, who you are, what I like, what I might want to add with my item, everything about me, and that it's never going to replace the hospitality, but it's going to give some sort of hospitality when you're on that side as well, making it easy and friendly as possible.
Yeah, my good friend Will Guidera, who very famously was the owner and really creative mind behind 11 Madison Park as it rose to the best restaurant in the world. I talked to him a lot about hospitality and kind of these types of ideas, and he always talks about the first principles of hospitality: to be seen, to be known, remember things about me, and personalize this for me. And that's basically what it comes down to. How do you be seen? And doing this digitally. I'm glad you plugged. I think it's a plug for a promotion, perhaps. Saying that CEOs are starting to think about this when they haven't in the past, and it's been really focused on drive down food costs, labor costs, make sure that we're staying efficient, giving good value to the customers. Well, now hospitality exists in this world of digital and needs to be focused on as well. And the CEO shift is what's going to put both, time, effort, and resources into doing it. Give me an idea, and we're hitting at the 30-minute mark. If folks in the audience want to ask questions, get them ready. I think there's a little Q&A section that you can drop questions into if you'd like, and that way we'll happily ask questions. Maybe if there's time, we'll have some people jump up. We'll see how that all goes and do that. But this isn't Clubhouse, right? This is Zoom. But I would wonder from both of you, what in your mind would make a digital experience wonderful? Like, what is the perfect experience? Is it less clicks? Is it less pop-ups? I don't know. Dream it out.
Well, it depends who you ask, the marketer or the technology person, right? It's kind of the fun, right?
I'm hoping different answers, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I mean, me, look, personally, if the quicker I can get in, the quicker I can get out, the better off I am. It's all about speed when it comes to me. And the flip side of that, it's about accuracy. It's speed and accuracy. But I'm sure Sarah might have some similarities, but also some differences.
No, very similar. Speed, I think at the bottom it's speed and accuracy. Unfortunately, we've become a society where we want things now. There's some good and some bad to that, but because that perception of I need to order it as quickly as possible, pick it up as quickly as possible, especially for us, we're a lunch brand. So you got that 20-minute window to drive there, drive back, whatever it may be. So speed and accuracy are huge, but that personalization is also a very big aspect to it. So we heavily utilize a rewards program where a guest can log in, they see their name at the top, they see their past order. I want to be able to go in and out and click within three clicks. I have my recent saved order, I have my Apple Pay, my Google Pay, whatever it may be, and I'm done. I think those are aspects that make a program. And then sending offers or sending suggestions based off of what I liked is huge. My example was Starbucks earlier this week of I got an ad for a Frappuccino for a Starbucks. I've never had a Frappuccino. I don't like them. Why? I don't want that ad. I want to get the ads that are more like my lattes or whatever it may be. So the more personalization shows the guest that this brand cares about me. This brand cares about what I like, and they're wanting to give me things that they think I like. Like that's a takeaway for me. I love brands that I support brands that do that for me. And that's what we're going to do at Togo's too.
Yeah. And go ahead, Phil.
I said she hit a spot on the nose. You want to create relationships using digital technologies, right? The whole interaction with like going out and meeting face to face and shaking hands, which I understand will get error, and actually that particular part of the industry, we need to figure a way to do it digitally in that same facet. But she's spot on with how it's personalized approaches, because without it, you're right. If I get something for something that I have no interest in, you don't know me who I am.
Yes.
Which means you don't really care. I'm just a number in a system that some algorithm spits out.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
Getting it wrong has a penalty to it, right? Like
it should.
Yeah. And that's been the hardest thing for us at Togo's. For those that do know Togo's, we had the model where it's 1-to-1. You go in, you work with one sandwich maker who makes the whole sandwich for you. So we're slowly shifting away from that model. And the hardest part for some of our old school guests is, well, I still want that. They come in because they want to talk to their cashier. They want to talk to their sandwich maker. And so creating those relationships online, it just transitions to, you can order ahead. When you pick up, there's Bob who you can talk to and have that relationship with still. Even though you do it online, you can still have those discussions in store if you really want it.
I love it. Yep. Does anyone ever wait for their sandwich maker, like wait for their barber?
All the time.
What?
All the time. All the time. It's crazy. I mean, we have kiosks in store, and a lot of newer guests use them, but those guys that have been around for 49, 50 years ordering Togo's, they want their guy. And that's one great thing about the Togo's organization, we're franchises. We do have a lot of old school franchise too. So guys have been here 40 years that know the city, that know the community. And so that's a really big part of Togo's. So taking that and transitioning it to digital is the biggest struggle, but also the biggest win if we get it right.
I love it. All right. Well, let's jump into some, I'll throw you some curveballs here because we're getting towards this, but we haven't touched it yet. What about some of the new tech? Do you, just yes or no here? Do we think any of these are ready for prime time? Is voice ready for prime time?
Yes, I do.
Interesting.
I think, I do. I really think. I think if you look at the advent of where the election, the home have gone, you may have a delta of the failure rates, meaning the order accuracy, but I think it's relevant enough to get out in the marketplace, 100%.
So obviously voice at home, but you think maybe like a drive-through could be run on voice soon enough?
Yeah, look, I think the fact that when you look at artificial intelligence, AI in its truest form, that's a reason why QSR brands, and there's different brands that have gone out there and really started investing in these. McDonald's just acquired that company a while ago, as well as others, because they realized the technology's moved far enough along that it actually outweighs having a person there at a dollar rate, and he never calls in sick. Hopefully it never breaks, but sometimes they do, right? But the fact that they can actually get that level of accuracy to a certain percentage where it actually makes an ROI, I think we're there. I think that's why you're starting to see it more.
And Sarah, do you feel the same? Yes or no?
I think it's there. I think it depends on the brand to adapt it. I don't think it'll work for all brands depending what's offered, but yes, I do think the technology is there.
I'm going to disagree with Phil. I'm going to go with 3 years away from this working in drive-through without real issue. But this next thing,
we'll have a talk. We'll have a talk in a year and see what happens.
Exactly. You'd be surprised, Brandon. Right now, I bet you if you went to a couple of QSR brands, and we won't name names, you're actually talking to a bot. And if you jump it enough, you'll get a beep and a pause. Then you get transferred to some help desk to help you. I kid you not, it's out there now. You may not know it, which is why it's so cool and so relevant.
Yeah, no, okay. I mean, I know it's there. I just wonder if it's going to stick because I'm worried about order accuracy and that. But you actually are touching on the next one, which is decentralized like video chat to somebody that's not actually at the restaurant taking your drive-through order. I think this has a moment to potentially kind of do something for the industry. Not sure.
I mean, we still have to have a human there, right?
Well, yeah, you have like basically a video chat with somebody. But they don't have to be in the store. right? You can have an office of people that are doing this for your entire brand around the country. Do you think that will ever catch on?
I personally don't.
I
think the human element there will trump with AI. I think that the intelligence gets so smart, and businesses already running such lean margins as is. If they can squeeze another way out, you may not have a virtual help desk. It's kind of like, some of those movies you've seen that people are talking to a screen and it goes left and right. I think it just continues to go down the voice route, or even a beacon route or some other kind of technology we don't know about yet.
Yeah. Sarah?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think.
All right.
We disagree.
Let's put them together. Have either of you seen all the deep fake tech, where it's basically deep fake Tom Cruise, right? Which was super cool. I mean, is that the way? So now we're saying, voice with somebody who looks like they're obviously look like a human, can hardly tell the difference. No, see, but got neither of you into it either. All right, great. No,
I mean, that would be cool if Tom Cruise is actually put up on the screen and it's fake, but I'm sure the licensing rights alone will kill you.
My California head is like, this is never going to happen.
Right, exactly. Well, look, let's open it up to some questions. I'll ask some, and folks, if you have questions, jump in. Would love to hear them. Maybe talk a little bit. So Naz in the audience, thank you for this question. Talking about some of the important tech stacks to have in the restaurant industry. I don't, we don't want to ask you to name names on what you're using, but maybe we just categorically, everyone has point of sale. If you have drive-through, you need obviously voice, some way to get a microphone into a headset. That's important. Sarah, obviously you do kiosks. Thank you for that. We work with you on that. Everyone does online ordering. What are some of the other categories that you see as important going forward?
For me, it's about the cloud, right? As much as you can get sitting above your brick and mortar and really start leveraging those cloud technologies, it gets you in a more agile state moving forward. We've rolled out a couple different cloud technologies that really have helped our brand be that agile standpoint and allow us to pivot and shift in a much more rapid deployment versus the old brick and mortar. I think that's one big tech stack improvement we all need to go do. I think the second thing is some kind of standardization when it comes to integration. I said on the RTN thing with regards to standardized, APIs. I think that becomes the next thing where you can actually get back to the best of breed and everything is fully integration.
Yeah. Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah. I think exactly the same things. One thing to add to that is with the integrations, having one central hub for all your data. I think that's really important. That sometimes is a missed opportunity for tech stack. We have data and we can pull from all these different platforms, but having that one source of truth makes things a lot easier to make decisions.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the places that I think restaurants are, truly becoming e-commerce because we're learning from the retail industries, right? Like in retail, and Phil, you obviously touched with Godiva and like a kind of cross of retail and food, but I talk to folks that are leaders in the world of apparel, and they have more disparate data than we have, right? Like they have online ordering that has been going forever. They have Amazon, if they have that as a channel. They have many other sites that are maybe high-end shopping sites. You're getting customers from everywhere. And how do you track this guest? Obviously, there's retail programs there that can do some of this stuff to centralize it all. So I think we're going to go in that direction as we have more digital ordering channels that coming from more places. You're going to see companies. I mean, one company that popped up recently. Let's not go into. I won't name names. Here's a little bit of an operational question, maybe for you both. Alan from the audience here was asking, what in a very operational one, tactical, what warrants a full refund rather than a meaningful response and a partial discount? I'm assuming we're talking about in a delivery setting, like, getting something wrong. Do you comp the whole thing? Do you have a policy around this? I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because it kind of splits, two different hairs, because the consumer really would expect a refund, but it also becomes on, how do you re-engage that guest and consumer? Working for Danny and Randy back in the day at Shake Shack, not talking about refunds, we often thought that a complaint and positive feedback equal the same kind of response, because it's both them sharing data with you regardless. I think, you know, the world is kind of, you know, always thought that if I complain more, I get more for free. But actually, if I can exchange that for a better experience a second time, I think that's where it goes. Because otherwise, and now I'll put my tech hat on, if I don't have a proper CDP in place, or to what Sarah said, a way to aggregate all that data into one and not figure out who's trying to gamify the system, then you actually hurt yourself in the long run by just always offering, here's a free burger if you complain. That's my hybrid IT marketing talk there for you.
Yeah, for us, it's about making it right by the guests. And so what we try to do is we encourage our guests to give feedback in store. That's the easiest way to then make sure the guest is satisfied before they leave the store. So if something is wrong with an in-store order, tell us. We want to make it right. It's definitely cheaper to make a sandwich than to refund a sandwich. And so if we can get that right in store, that's the thing. As we move to online ordering and delivery, obviously that makes it a little harder because the food has already left the restaurant. And so for us, we do most of the time give a refund. Again, we are a franchise organization, so we do let the franchisees also have a little judgment too. They know their guests. So if the same guest coming in 5 times a week asking for a refund, clearly we're going to write down some lines. But it's more than just giving a refund. It's picking up the phone, calling the guest, and talking to them about their experience. It's not just giving them the food. You need that refund and you need that experience. So then you can go back to your crew. Hey guys, this is where it went wrong, or this is what happened. That's the thing that makes the most money, is not just giving the money, but then we can make it right and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what we try to train our stores on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that's a great call out, Sarah. I think you're spot on about how they, you know, get them before they go, because when they go, they tell their 5 friends and their 5 friends tell 5 friends, that whole methodology. You know, I also think though that people actually just want to be interactive with. How many times I've complained on apps and done feedback and it goes to the help desk abyss and you never hear back. So you're kind of like, my consumer sentiment is like, they just don't care. And what if you know it's giving you a rave or a complaint? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting, you know, segue on there.
We had, I was talking to one of our customers the other day who was talking about, hearing guest feedback and then getting to it. And, this is after the fact, but after like a low rating, sometimes they will get on the phone, as you said, Sarah, and say, hey, look, I'd love to buy you lunch and I'll send you a gift card if I could just talk to you about the experience, right? Reward them for their time, at least, as you were saying, Phil, either positive or negative. And the feedback on the phone, I did say 2 stars, but it wasn't actually that bad, and sometimes, sometimes what you submit digitally on your experience might not actually match up to the way you felt about it. In some places, not everywhere, we actually utilize facial recognition. And I think something that's cool is that's coming down the line is actually looking at the mood of a guest when they come to your restaurant. If they walk in upset, what if we could trigger something that says, you know what, anyone who comes in and they look upset, we wouldn't nationally say this nationally, but we're going to try to get them something we'll buy them a cookie on the way out or something. Let's help lighten their day. So look, I want to make sure to be respectful of both of your time. We got to some of the questions, some other ones there, but anything else that you both want to touch on as we kind of wrap up?
No, look, I think that, me personally, I think that what happens in these next 12 months really even be more of a divestiture to what we're doing now, just given where the world has come and gone and seen. And I think that from a technology standpoint and also being a restaurateur standpoint, we have to be able to be open to willing to accept these changes and not brush back, because I think that we've seen the consumer sentiment really shift in a variety of ways on the dime. And we have to be able to adapt to that in so many different factors and kind of get out of our comfort zone. Like we can talk about Ghost Kitchen and, all these different things that we're doing in order to keep our business and our hospitality engines going. And those that learn to adapt will survive. And I listened to an actual chat the other night. And somebody had said, it's not no because, it's now become yes if methodologies and how we have to think in our mindset.
Interesting. And you're saying that's the conversation internally.
Yeah, Correct. Because often it's like, we're all trying to guess what the next thing is.
Yes.
And we're all trying to make sure we're not, hit by the next curveball, the next spike, or whatever it might be. And we have to have that open mindset going in, because I think, unfortunately, so many people went into this saying, it'll be 3 weeks, it'll be 4 months. And for like a year later, and unfortunately our industry got so devastated because of that. I think hopefully that we've all learned from this and we all matured in a certain way that we can actually build our businesses really with more tentacles, right, that are out there versus just the 1 or 2 we may have had in the beginning.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I completely be willing to adapt. We're talking about all these technologies now. If we met a year from now, there's going to be 12 new ones that we have to learn about. So I think being willing to adapt, being willing to learn and have those hard discussions with your ops teams. I know that's constantly on a daily basis, depending if your executive team is made up of more ops, more marketing, those conversations would be easier or harder. But having those, I think, just being willing to adapt. I had something else too, and I completely lost it. Maybe come back to me. I was like, I had a point.
You were probably thinking about those video screens with chat he was talking about earlier, right?
We're ready. We're ready. The deep fakes. I just want to be able.
I know what it was. I think what COVID-19 has taught us is that sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect before we launch it. I think all of us launched things very quickly. And it was a little rocky, but it worked and it learned and we grew. I think in the past it has to completely flesh out and to a T. And it's like, it's not realistic. The way that technology is constantly evolving. I think for us, we have a 90%. Get it there 90, push it out. We will fix the 10 as it's moving. I think having that gives us a lot more grace, and guests are also used to a lot of these changing technologies. And so hearing their feedback helps us get to that 10%. That's a big thing to take away as well.
Love it. Phil, we've got the marketing person talking like a tech person with the 90% of the way back. So we have been successful in this.
Again, it depends on the day.
I love it. I mean, she's absolutely right. There's no, what defined perfection?
Yeah.
Right. Define that success metrics. And we've all had to shift our mindset on that, it's okay to go out and make mistakes. It's okay to fail fast and learn faster. I think that she hit it spot on. So I'll give you my tech hat. Like you said, you can work for a while.
Yeah.
Look, as a vendor, as a vendor who has an operator mind, right? I appreciate the idea that that 90% is as far as tech is ever going to get, right? Because we always want to be pushing it a little bit better and getting it out a little bit faster. And so it really, it becomes the relationship that the brands have with their vendors in this to kind of work together for that.
Something that.
Go.
Oh, go ahead. I would say something we always say is it better than what we have now? Is it perfect? No. Is it better than we have now? Yes. Then we move forward with it. So I think that's the way to look at it.
This is the perfect place to end. I love it. Well, Phil, Sarah, thank you so much. For everyone who's attended, thank you so much. If you want to be in touch with the video or anything, Andy at getbyte.com. That will get you, just send an email to Andy. He'll send you the video. Really looking forward to doing these throughout the year and getting amazing guests just like Phil and Sarah. I hope you both have a wonderful Friday, wonderful weekend, and let's get rid of this virus and open back up.
Couldn't said it better. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.